So it's important that you guys know what the base is, which is 20 zip codes, 20, 20, 20. Everything is linked to 20. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I'm about to go dead, Joe. So we're gonna, because we don't want to lose you guys, we're going to connect here. We're still waiting on my computer, you guys, so that's what we're doing here.
Yep. Ciao.
Is it on? Yeah. At first it was. Let me see.
No.
Nope. So just bear with us, you guys. We're going to, yeah, there we go. Okay. As we work on the technical side, I'm going to talk about Africa next here. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Two things. Yeah. We're fixing. We want to fix. Yeah, get that. So we going this way?
Yeah. Are you just plugging it?
Okay. All right, you guys, we can scoot this up. We're still working on the computer here, and now I don't have to use my hands. I'm hands free. Thank you, Sai. All right, you guys. So let's keep it going. Africa. We had two things happen in Africa that should disturb all of us. For those who don't know, Egypt, Arabs run Egypt now. If you see some of the people going to Egypt, visiting the tombs, the pyramids, you see Arabs running the show and telling the story from their viewpoint. And it makes you wonder, where are the black people? Like, where are the black people at? And I don't see them. I'm definitely going to get there. Hopefully they won't try and kidnap me from making my comments before I get there. But I want to know where the black people at in Egypt. So anyway, Egypt is right next to the Middle East, which is the Arabs. And so President Trump yesterday congratulated Sudan on joining the United Arab Immigrants and the Arab League. As a black person, this is a slap in the face. First and foremost, you took Egypt. Egypt is right next to Sudan. If you remember the Janjaweed, they were chopping black people up 10 years ago. And what ended up happening was Africa split from being a 54 nation country to 55, because the agreement with the United Nations was give the Arabs North Sudan and let the blacks have South Sudan. If I come in your house and I just occupy space and we fighting, the neighbors say, I'm tired of all this fighting, just make it stop. And the agreement is you get to take the upstairs of my house and I get the downstairs. I'm losing because it's my house. You shouldn't be here at all. That's what Sudan represents. It shouldn't be 55 countries. It was the blacks. So anyway, the Arabs already have Egypt. Now they got North Sudan, which is right next to Egypt, and they gave black South Sudan. But guess where the oil is at? No, North Sudan. It's right next to them. They taking the oil. And Turkey and Lebanon, both in the Arab world, they were getting 15,000 barrels of that on the oil out of Africa. Now, the Arab world is known for oil, but instead of using their oil, they using African oil so they can keep theirs on reserves for future. Come on, black people. Come on. We getting it. We getting it. And so what's the solution? Your pennies to Africa. Because it starts with, do you care? And then if you care, circulate. Because there's some strategic things. There's some smart people when it comes to Africa affairs. But at the end of the day, the average person like us should at least have a pool of money that we've been able to put together to help listen to what our experts say need to get done to turn that around. I just know first and foremost, no matter what, economics is the key. Like the reason they taking the oil is because of economics. So we need to have our economics money circulating to deal with that. Last thing on Africa is Nigeria. So Nigeria is in the news because of SARS. SARS is the anti-robbery force that the government put in place over 10 years ago to deal with robbery and theft. And now, from what I understand, they are the robbers and the thieves. Joe, can you get Charles the number? He's asking for the number. They are the robbers and the thieves now. And so that's why you see mass protests happening in Nigeria. And we stand with the masses. We always stand with the masses because we think that's where the power is. So we stand with the masses and we hope government would do right by its people in Nigeria. Dallas, Texas has the second largest Nigerian population in the US. So at noon today, they were in downtown City Hall, Dallas, letting their voices be heard that they are aware of what's happening and they stand with the people of Nigeria. So next month, we're going to be focused on 13 countries over there in Africa. All these countries begin with the alphabets S through T, S, T, and U. So it's 13 countries over there with those alphabets, and we'll be focused on those. All right, so that's the Africa link. Like I said, I do believe Mississippi is our port of entry because Mississippi is rural and agricultural, and that's what Mississippi is, and that's what Africa is. Africa is not one of the developed nations. South Africa is, and Egypt is where they took over at, but for the most part, it'll match. So as we grow and get the pennies rotating, when people come over here from the continent, we want to make sure that they hit Mississippi first before they move on to other parts of the U.S. That they go through Mississippi, then go to the other places. All right, so this month, I did want to speak briefly about Port Gibson in Mississippi, because this month is alphabets P, Q, and R. So Port Gibson was the one we selected. There was an interview with a young lady that I met on social media from Port Gibson. And we're gonna hopefully get this interview done before November 1st. So I wanted it to be ready for today. Based on her schedule and my schedule, we weren't able to do it. So at least I'm gonna hope to bring you some insight on Port Gibson before the month is out. For those who don't know, Port Gibson is along the Natchez River. If I'm correct, we got a Mississippi expert here, but our people is traded there. Like Port Gibson was the main port of slave trade. And so speaking to this young lady is gonna be an honor because her family and connections down there went through some stuff. So I hope to bring that interview to you guys before November 1st. So next month, with last names S, T, and U, we're going to be focused on Sentobia, Mississippi. Sentobia. You heard of Sentobia? Sorry. Sentobia, Mississippi is in the north east Mississippi. I know Cheryl Blackman in Chicago. She's that's her hometown. And from what I understand, everyone in town is her family. So the Blackmans, if that's their last name, we're going to try and interview them next month for the Mississippi section of what we do. All right, so last thing I want to do before we're moving on, because I'm a little behind on Mississippi. Our vision is Mount Bayou being the first Black town in America, in the US, formed by 2 former slaves. We want to make sure that 8th graders all over the nation, Black 8th graders primarily, take their 8th grade trip to Mount Bayou. Like, why not? Like let's do that. You know what I mean? Like, let's get some historical stuff with Mount Bayou. So what I did, and this is what I wanted to put out here to you guys, I wanted to put out there for you guys to know, we have Memphis is the closest out of town place to Mount Bayou. So it's 30 miles or 60 miles or something like that. It's real close. So we hope all of you guys in Memphis, Tennessee, eighth graders, that y'all will lead by example. Because it's going to be hard if Memphis won't go down Mount Bayou for eighth grade school trip. It's going to be hard getting Chicago to come. It's like, wait a minute, they 60 miles away, we 400 miles away, and y'all won't go. So we hope Memphis will lead the way with getting the eighth grade trips there. We're going to do our job with trying to make it welcoming for you. So we go work with the hotels down there in Cleveland and in the surrounding area to make it where you guys are feeling welcome to come and learn about this historical place. And that can put some money into the economy in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So of course, New Orleans, we hope you would go because you're not that far away. Dallas, we hope you would go. Birmingham, Atlanta, even St. Louis. We know that our Boston, Philly, New York, Norfolk people, it's going to be hard. You might not even make it the first 3 or 4 years because we got to really, it's a long distance travel. So we'll respect that if you guys don't make it. But we hope our New Orleans, Dallas, Memphis, Birmingham people would definitely come because it's right, not that far away. So that's our seventh graders. We want you to start doing research on Mississippi and writing your essays on Mississippi. That'll get you ready. So as soon as you hit eighth grade, then you ready to rock and roll. Okay. So yeah. So now we're gonna switch gears because now we gotta bring Joe on to talk about safety. Before we bring Joe on, I want to talk about a few things and then we go loop him in so we can just get his input. For those who don't know, we have record murders and more murders than ever recorded in Memphis, Tennessee. We got more murders than ever recorded in St. Louis, Missouri. Both of them places is black people. That's who's dying. Like, what's the plan? And that's one of the things that we really, really got to look in the mirror on, you guys, because we can't just keep letting mothers bury their children and think that it won't be an emotional discouragement on them. So when we talk about blacks don't want to vote, blacks don't want to do this, you killed my son. Like, you think I care about what you're talking about? So that's what we're dealing with. Every time a body is laying in the morgue and going to the cemetery, it's a piece of people being lost. And when people have lost 3 sons, it's hard to, what you're gonna say to them to inspire and motivate them. That's real tough. So my whole thing when it comes to that is we got to make sure we have outlets. People need to be able to travel and get away. They need to be able to meet new people, and they still might not want to do that, given that they lost their loved one. But we at least need to set it up so it can happen. And if we doing our job the way we're working on it, with all the zip codes being linked, at least it'll be us preparing a foundation for them if they do decide to travel with us. And when they travel, the beauty is they're gonna be traveling with a group that spreads love and whatnot. So looking at the numbers here, we have over 566 murders already in Chicago. And that's why I always say no other city has the murders the way Chicago does. It is just astronomical, the intensity of the violence in the city. And so whenever Chicago people don't want to hear it, whenever Chicago people seem frustrated, I give them all the bandwidth and credence because no one else is going through the intensity of violence like Chicago. And I know Atlanta people just posted today that Atlanta's violence is equal to Chicago's. I said stop it, and I'm gonna say stop it again. I call that European models, because what they do, just like weather, they got the Doppler radar, then they got the European radar. That's the European radar when they do this per capita stuff. Forget all that. The fact of the matter is we got 566 murders. Atlanta had 99 murders last year. So I get it, the per capita based on how many people, screw that, because the murders are happening in the same areas for us. And so therefore you can't do the per population because there's some people who don't have to worry about murder in Chicago. It's people in Atlanta don't have to worry about murder. So how dare you be included in the numbers? We're not gonna play that game. We're not gonna let you play that game. The intensity of violence in Chi-Town, only Kingston, Jamaica has more. And so in the Western Hemisphere, so no one can compare, and we shouldn't even try to compare. Hurt, loss is loss, no matter what. But I just wanted to make sure our ATL people knew it has gotten bad this year in Atlanta, but trust me, you don't even want to compare. Philadelphia is second in America with the most murders. They're nearing 400 murders, and Philly is much smaller than Chicago. So anyway, these are black people dying out here, you guys. It's us killing us. I've always said it. Lifestyle is key. Lifestyle is key. There's three components of lifestyle: your habits, your schedule, and your network. Now, if you broke, that can impact each one of them. So your habits. If you hang out all night, you drinking, getting high, then who's gonna hire you and what job you go do the next day? So that's part of habits. If you have a habit of just defeating your own positive things, then it's gonna be hard for anybody to help you and let alone provide opportunities to you because of your surroundings. Schedule is what you do with your time. We're right here on the east side of Chicago. This is how we're using our time right here. And so what are you doing with your time? And if we make this fun, and that's one of the things Governor Joe always talks about, the circus. Like when you got so much positive stuff happening, people want to be a part of that. And that's cool. I'm all for the circus. Let's do that. But I also want to make sure that you you doing the work part. You know what I mean? Because having the fun part is one thing, but what are you doing to do the work? And the work that has to be done goes back to the lifestyle, habits, schedule, and network. And so right now, every fourth Saturday is this summit. There are children in Atlanta, in Chattanooga, in Louisville, Indianapolis who wanted to be here. They wanted to come to Chicago to be at the summit. And if they were here, it's people in Chicago who would love to show them around the city, take them down to Navy Pier, take them to Lincoln Park Zoo. I don't know, is the zoo open right now with the COVID? See? Take them to Garfield Park Conservatory. It's exciting when you got guests and you got some money to spend with the guests. You know what I mean? So just imagine what that does to 79th Street when you got this busload of people from Kansas City, Missouri out here and they looking for black positive interaction and fun. And the same with Gary, Indiana. You know, I came through Gary. Just imagine our people from Louisville, Kentucky, they're looking for interactions. And we got talent. We got people that can do rap, poetry, singing. And so just imagine that fellowship. And that's what we have to do when we talk about making it safer in these high crime neighborhoods. Now, I granted, if they shooting, it's hard to say, let's have a carnival, let's have a circus while the bullets are flying. But I'm gonna say this, being out here 25 years, real recognize real. All right. And one of the key things with that is there are brothers out there who know that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. A lot of it is in defense. They in defense. So when you come out there with the right spirit and you make sure you cover both sides of the block, that's important. So you talking to both sides and you got people on the perimeter making sure nobody's driving in doing something that they gonna regret later. We've changed blocks. We've saw people on the block be open to this idea of getting away and going somewhere else and changing the environment and scenery. So we know it works. And it's just a matter of you guys giving your $12 your loose change, because we have to finance this. We can't wait on government. And we're going to see a different Black America. We're going to see a Black America where every day this is going on. People are traveling, going places. You hearing thugs in the barbershop saying, man, I got to go to Kansas City for 2 weeks. Then I'm going to Miami. Then I'll be back home for 3 weeks. Then I got to hit LA. That's that future for Black America. That's what it looks like. Travel all over the place. I know because I was in the Navy and we was on the go, always going somewhere where you couldn't wait to be at home just to let your hair down. That's what the future looks like. The homeless guys we see out here doing nothing, they on the midnight bus going to Detroit to clean the alleys. But while they on that bus, they not on the street. While they get to Detroit to clean the alleys, they go be barbecuing. The chefs in Detroit go barbecue for them. They go have a hot cooked meal cleaning alleys in Detroit. Why Detroit ain't cleaning alleys? Because they at home. They ain't think about cleaning no alleys. See how this works? Like, so that's beautiful. So we, Joe, are you queued up? You over there? You in? So Joe, for you guys know, he's our leader for zip code 60615. Joe been with me for 20 years and been firsthand out here seeing the brothers on the street who sometimes give up. So when I listen to Joe and you guys listen to Joe, um, he's speaking from the street perspective and growing up in the projects like me, I'm a project kid too. He gonna give you a perspective that is raw and it's one that we should validate because it's brothers out here who feel just like Joe feel. All right, Joe, can you do a mic check and test? If not, all right, well, you let's see if they can hear you. Sat, see if you can hear Joe from my phone. Speak loud. Testing, Joe, test it.
Hello, everyone.
Can you hear him, Si? All right, I'm gonna keep the mic on me, you guys. Y'all just hear Joe. Yeah, you can be right behind me, Joe. Joe, man, introduce yourself, man. Tell everybody who you are, man.
I'm Governor Joe of 60615, you guys.
And what city is that? You know, our people be all over. So.
Chicago, Illinois, 60615.
Now, part of our discussion on safety, man, you out here in the streets, man. Any hope? Any hope?
Well, I can answer that two ways. Yes and no.
Yep.
Yeah, we personally know we've been at it for a long time. We personally know that there's hope. But if you're on the ground and your parents are gone, someone like you said earlier that hurt your family member, all you do is watch videos with guns in it, violence. You portray that every day. You want to act it out, and that's what's going on now. Not bad that they have Molly, pills, and syrup, and whatever else you know.
Hey, what's a Molly?
It's a pill that they're using. You know what I mean? It's a Molly they're using. I guess it's for high energy or whatever they need to be using it for. But with these pills and these drugs that they're taking nowadays, it's got them reacting in a way that we never react to.
That's me.
You know, to people.
Let me end this. 1 second. Okay. All right, we just on here now. The computer is finally up, you guys. So here we are. All right. So Joe was saying Molly, you guys. The heck is a Molly? That sounds like some person. And you say it's what, Joe?
It's a pill drug they use, and I guess I'm told that it was mixed with several different other drugs, but I'm not sure. But saying that to say when you're hopeless, when you have no parents really, you watch nothing but video games or heard nothing but violence on far as rap music. You know, now you go out and act on it because your family member or loved one was killed. Now it doesn't stop there because now you hurt someone else's family and somebody else wants revenge. So now you have a thing that constantly goes on for years.
Now, but we in Chicago, you've traveled, you've driven children, teenagers from Chicago to New York, to Atlanta, to Birmingham. Is Chicago the most dangerous? Is that the most deadly? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, I can say this. I've been on Chicago streets for a long time, and 2020, I'm most nervous of 2020 out of every year I've been on this earth. You know, for the youth, and like I said, with these drugs and the attitude that they have now, it's like even if you get into an argument with one of the young guys, they'll shoot you. You know what I mean?
So wait a minute, you grew up in the 90s and you're saying even in the 90s is worse than in the 90s?
Late 80s, 90s, and 2000.
It's not funny, you guys. That's serious stuff.
But the heartless of it is what I'm talking about. The heartless killing. The killing for no reason. When we were younger and there was some called gang, it used to be a code. You have to go by a code. You have to talk to somebody high here. Any reckless anything. And now it's just, you know, like an OK Corral. It's like a Western movie.
And so, because do you think other F groups are loving this, or they like, what is it just us? What's your take on that? Like,
Well, we're portrayed higher than others, but it's going on all over the world. I mean, with every ethnic group, but they have a black eye and they put it on the on the mainstream as far as us, to kind of bring us down like they've been doing for years. So, that's the way I look at that one.
yeah. So does it matter with the young people traveling? That'll be my last question, because you've seen, we brought a boy home from New York, 14 hours on his porch when he got there late night school the next day. Everybody was smoking, and he was excited about to tell them about his adventure at Coney Island. He put his feet in the water and in the Atlantic Ocean where our ancestors lie. And his mama told him, "Hurry up and get your blanket in the house." So, do the parents hurt the movement, man? What's your thoughts on that?
Not to take nothing from any sisters, but they have a hard enough job just raising children on their own, especially young men. But at the end of the day, even like my mother, she was real strict, and it was 4 boys in the house. She'd crack all us upside the head, and made us do with it, And I think the parents have became friends with the children nowadays, and the son who grown up, he ended up hitting the street, so he helped take care of the house. So if he bringing in more money, that makes him the daddy of the house. So the mother have to kind of back.
Now, Sai, I know you weren't scheduled, but we just got to hear a female response to that. Sai, I hate to do that to you, but can you just chime in on that? My question was about, can we give some blame to the black woman, the mother of these boys out here? That's who's out here shooting. And Joe defended the ladies. Joe said, "Hey, they got a tough job. Sai, you a mother." What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I would agree that our job is tough. Raising my son as a single parent was not easy, but having a firm hand and having control over what goes on in my house is the first and foremost thing that you have to do. Loving your child means loving your child enough to discipline your child. Loving your child means loving your child enough to keep an eye on them even when you can't see them, knowing where they are and holding them responsible for that, and letting them know from a young age that there are repercussions and consequences to actions that are taken.
Y'all hear that? So she's on my side. She said, "No excuse." You gotta. No, seriously, these shooters, they land their head somewhere. They gotta rest. Like, the body calls for you to get some rest. Where they resting at?
They are resting in
a woman's house.
They're resting in the arms of their girlfriends. They're resting in the arms of relatives who don't know what they're doing. Some do know what they're doing. And so it's kind of a 6 in one hand and half dozen in the other, because you would like to think that you know what this person that you love is capable of doing, but that's not necessarily the truth, because there is an underbelly to crime and distrust. I'm always hiding that side of me from you.
Charles, can you hear Sai?
Yes, I can.
All right. Yeah.
Could you hear me?
You were saying you're always trying to hide that side of you?
Yes. So I think that it's really important that we acknowledge that there are things that are going on.
I'm having some sound problems.
Make the young people in our lives, and make the people in our households aware that there are things that are going on in the community and what our position is on those things that are going on.
Don't happen like that. You're not muted.
So that there's no question. So you cannot bring this to my house.
Now, I wrote this down. I'm gonna do this because we over on the safety side. I wrote down
Charles, could you
innocent killing, should know about innocent killing, and deliberate innocent killing. I think that's the categories. But the point was this. You know you're sleeping with a guy that just went and shot somebody else's kid. What you think? Like, you know your mate did someone else dirty.
You're
You
next.
know what's coming. Like, you
You're
know,
next.
if you with them, are you innocent?
No, you're not innocent, and you're next, because that's the thing about situations like that. That situation means that person is no respecter of person. If they have the heart to kill, steal, and destroy from somebody else, what makes you think that you are so special that you don't fall into the same category?
So if I got a 5-year-old son with him, what am I doing though?
If I have a 5-year-old son with him, then I'm examining the fact that, what do I want my son's life to look like? Is this what I want for my son? Do I want my son to duplicate this man? You know, did I bring this child into this world for better? Or is this all that there is going to be for them, this person?
Charles, you agree?
Yes. Could you hear me? Could you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we could go many levels on the upbringing of our children and what's right and what's wrong to do.
No,
You
but we
know,
talking about if you know your son killed someone else's child, the law of nature is that it's probably going to reciprocate. It's probably coming back around. Now, you go sit on the porch with them?
No, I won't. No, I won't. Part of making your kids responsible for their actions. You know, I believe in you responsible for your actions. Now, if we sit there on the porch, I know this thing's just going to get worse. You know, I mean, and plus, not hiding. I'm not a criminal, so I don't want to sit there when I know my child done wronged somebody else as far as killing them. I don't want my child to keep on living.
Yeah, that's a different type of wrong now. I can wrong you, cutting you off in the street. That's
yeah.
You
I
asking
mean,
for
because that's just
Joe,
pouring
you said,
gasoline, huh? Yeah.
no, that's what I meant by the deliberate innocent. Like you weren't the shooter, but you with this person who you know is doing hits like that. It's just, you know what I mean? You asking for it is all I'm saying.
Okay,
and I just wanted to make sure
where I come from, well, my father tell me a thing or two like this. Okay, you want to stay out there? I can't make you do anything. So do you want to stay out there with him? You stay out with him. Don't come here with that. You know,
right.
That's how that's gonna go.
Right.
Wasn't even no talk after that. That was just cut and dry.
You know, it goes also to spousal abuse too, which is a part of the safety is missing persons, and you guys know LaShawn Pooh, her whole thing is with this abuse that happens in the household. What do we have right here, Sai? What are we looking at? That's in Spanish.
Oh, okay, so here it is. Also, the fact that we have to break the cycle of domestic abuse. There are resource centers that will help to break the cycle of domestic abuse. A lot of women, like Joe said, they stay in it because they don't feel like they have any alternatives. They don't say anything because where do I go? Yes, this man just came in, he's bloody, he's killed somebody. I've got a 5-year-old child with him. What am I gonna do? You know, what resources do I have? So what we provide is, we provide, here at Meadows East Side, we don't provide this, but we provide a place where we can refer you to places. We can give you information. Now
these places though, you vetted them?
Yes.
They legit?
Yes, they are.
I know you did, Side. That's what Side does.
Yes, and I've known this organization for many years. They've done some really fabulous programs with us when I was a Park Advisory Council president over at Bessemer Park. Family Rescue has been doing great work with women in violence for many years, but women need to know what their options are, what
Right.
their options are legally,
Right.
and what their options are socially, economically, and morally.
Now, when you say socially, meaning that they won't be ostracized by the community, is that what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying. We have to embrace these women. We have to embrace them so that they know that, yes, you were in a situation and you've made a decision to come out of it. The situation that you were in is not who you are. It was something that you did.
Right. No, that's
And
good.
so you're moving toward making yourself better. And so our job as a community is to hold these people up and to better them.
Now watch this, side, because you took it there. I'm your big brother. He put hands on you. Men don't play like that, Si. So when me and your boyfriend engage, it can get deadly. And if you go back to him, you creating a family dynamic because now you expect us to be at the dinner table for Thanksgiving, even though we came to blows over you.
No. And so I think that in a lot of those situations, what happens is the woman or the victim, because it's sometimes men, the victim feels like they don't have the support of the person who fought for them. Yes, you want to beat up someone for me, but you're not supporting me emotionally. You know, I'm not looking for your financial support. You're not supporting me emotionally. You're degrading me for the choices that I made. You're not forgiving me for the choices that I made. So if that's the case, then I might as well go back and be degraded by that person.
That's deep.
So what we have to do is we have to set up a support system so that they know that we are here to help you better your life.
In the totality, not just.
In the totality. What is it that you need? Here are the resources that we can help you with. Because these resources that we're offering are not something that we as family are paying for out of our pocket.
Right.
They're free resources for these women. They're free resources for these men. They're free resources for people who are victims of domestic violence.
Right. Yeah. Now, because the next segment is the youth, and I think like let's stick with that because we got some young girls who I went to Dunbar. For those who don't know, Dunbar is on the south side of Chicago. I was all the way on the west side, and I used to hate the older guys would pull up in their fancy cars, and I didn't have a car in my freshman year, so the freshman was dating the older guys who would pull up because we didn't have cars, but they also would physically abuse them. We was young, we weren't trying to abuse them, we wanted to love on them, but the older guys had other things in mind. So when we talk about our young girls, let's talk about why do young girls may want an older guy? Like what's the draw?
It can be several reasons, man. You can have lack of father in the home.
Lack of father. I don't know you guys can hit, Joe.
That's like number one. You know, you can have your father in the home, but lack of love.
Lack of love, lack of father.
You can also be sexually molested if you're a shorty, a baby child, and that's all you think of if it was an older guy molesting.
So you hit on some all family points, lack of love, lack of daddy, and then being abused at home. They found a 7-year-old girl here, you guys, in Chicago. Y'all heard about that?
Yeah.
7 years old on one of these things. If that happened over the mic or the camera, imagine what happens off camera.
Exactly.
Imagine what she has to go through. And they said when kids couldn't go to school that all type of abuse is going to happen because at least the schools provided legally required reporting. You know what I mean? When you at home, yeah, good luck. So on the youth side, one of the things I wanted to make sure we talked about was every one of our children, asking them where do they see themselves, what industries, technology, business, science, whatever. And they probably won't know. Or they all might say entertainment. But we got a plan no matter what form. Si, what you think about that?
I think that's excellent, but I also think that it's really important as a community, as block clubs, as governors, what we have to do is in these communities, we have to provide a person. Yep. You know, there should be a person on every block that every young person that they see. They should be speaking to them. They should be showering them with love. How are you doing? I don't care how they're acting. I don't care what their pants look like. I don't care if their booty is out, their tops are out, whatever. How you doing, young lady, today? Hi, you look so lovely. It's nice to see you. So that that person knows that there is somebody that I can run to.
Enough said. Our vision, though, with that is out of town people. but I'm totally with you. I just think the locals are too caught up in survival that it takes. Like right now, I'm here and my bags are semi-packed. I'm getting ready to leave, so I'm in a certain mode. I want to get it. Because I know I'm out of here. It's your house. You like, whatever. I get around to it. There's no urgency there. And so, that's why this beautiful space is so important. Imagine busting out of these walls is an army of people who are here for a small duration of time, ready to go and do whatever you say, Si.
I think that it can be amazing. I think that it can be impactful. I think that it can change lives. It can change communities, because people have grown lackadaisical in what they see every day, to the point that they don't even see it.
I hate to say it, President Obama's second term, blacks was holding out hope. Yeah, they was on his second term. He can't get reelected. He can go all in. Didn't happen. So that made blacks do this. They like, man, forget everything, man. If he didn't do it, he was in power. Forget it. And so you're right. Now we got to prove it to them. They got to see bodies out there doing the work without, asking them for nothing. Because see, that's the other thing, side. As soon as you do something, what's the catch? What I got to do?
Wow. Last Saturday, I fed the kids free on the west side.
Yeah, they can't hear you. You said you fed the kids on the west side.
Yeah, I fed the kids on the west side. One of the questions was, are you rich?
Wait, a shorty asked you if you was rich?
Yeah, because they was actually eating free.
Oh.
And when the child said it, and I paused for a minute and said, "Oh wow!" So it's rare. It's so rare, like you were just saying, to see good happening.
No, that's real. Are you rich? And we are rich. What they was talking about was financially rich. We rich and never giving up. We rich in skills and things of that nature. So we very rich, but they talking about money rich. So this is a vision that we get 15-year-olds in the 3-year pipeline to home ownership, 15 years old. And like year one would be them learning about budgeting, getting a debit card, start paying. Like year two, them learning how to teach if they 16 now, teaching the 15-year-olds how to do it. Then year three, teaching them about the rent trap. Then they're 18, they're legally able to enter into an agreement. So that's when we gift them a house or we get them a house under 5K. What do y'all think about that?
Totally necessary.
Si, you got the skills on the Section 8 piece too. So that's another piece of the puzzle. But they posted a 13-year-old who bought their first house. And the people went and said they can't buy it, they under 18, but the guy did some stuff where he's gonna sign it over to them when they get legally of age. But right now, all the other stuff was done outside the legal part. But the point he was making was, instead of them buying materialistic stuff, this young person was saving and getting in position. Now they're a homeowner. What do y'all think about that?
That is what we should be training our kids to do. We should be training our kids that if you are spending $1,000 a month on rent and you're spending $12,000 a year
With nothing to show.
with nothing to show for it,
Mm-hmm.
and if you do that for 10 years,
See it.
you have invested $120,000
We gotta show that. You're
into
right.
someone else's property.
Yep.
You can cut it up any
Yep.
way you see it.
Yep.
Which brings us to how home ownership, with being a person who has Section 8,
Mm-hmm.
who has any type of public housing assistance, there is a path to home ownership. There is a free path to home ownership. You're getting a Section 8 voucher. You have a 2-bedroom voucher that's $1,135 in Chicago. It varies from state to state. And some places it's higher, some places it's lower, depending on. You only have to have a 650 point credit score,
Okay.
which is lower than average. You only have to save $3,000 down. You have to go through homeowners classes. You're given money. Okay, you do all of that. You've got some money in savings. There are training programs that are going to help you.
So
All
no
right.
excuse.
So exactly, we're going to let you go to school for free. If you're in public housing, you can go to any city college for free.
Charles, are you able to hear this, Charles?
So you have all of these resources that are laid out for you. You can own your own property. You can emancipate from your family. So now that's for the average person. Now look at this. If you're a senior, if you're disabled, the pot gets sweeter. Your credit score I think it's 550 at this point.
So it goes lower.
Exactly. Your income is low. Your income is lower. But the thing that I left out in all of this is that same voucher that was paying your Section 8 is now paying your mortgage.
For how long?
It depends. It depends on whether you have a 15-year mortgage or whether you have a 30-year mortgage. And the goal is family self-sufficiency.
Right.
The goal is to take you off of the welfare roll and get you to work,
On your own.
to get you to work on your own.
Well, hopefully there's some limits to that because you don't want people always being on the
Oh, no, there's not
taxpayers
hopefully.
on
There
the
are definitely
Okay,
some limits to
good.
that.
So-
There are definitely some limits to that. And not only that, it's not like they're going to take, if you had a voucher for 6, for 6 bedrooms, because that gives you like $3,000, a rent. They're not going to say, well, now we're going to pay $3,000 a month on your mortgage.
Yeah, right.
That's not how that process goes.
Yeah.
It warrants looking into. Every state
It's
can
different.
go to their HUD. They can go to HUD. They can go to their state housing authority,
Right.
their housing choice voucher program in the authority. It's very easy to Google. In Chicago, it's CHAC, Chicago Housing Authority.
Okay.
So it exists. And so I'm going to provide the information to SCI so that SCI can provide the information to everyone who's listening so that we can put it out via internet and on the World Wide Web, on Facebook, so that people know that they have options.
Yeah.
This program is there's not a PSA from the housing authority the way that there should be, so people know.
That's what I was going to say. From your observation in Chicago, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well used do you think this program is?
I think the program, and I have said this to some of the program leads, that they're doing an abysmal job.
Like 1, 3?
putting
What
out.
would you say?
So I would say that, okay, we have 100%, let's say out of 100%, I would say that they're probably doing something like about 30%. I have talked to community people who don't even know about this program.
Well, we know us as a people got to do better too. My wife, for instance, she don't read the newspaper every day. I do. So guess who have more broad insight?
Right.
I put in the work to kind of know. Some people, they want to watch Empire all day and expect to know some stuff. So,
Right.
so
Right.
you know what I mean? But you're right. We can do a better job on both ends. But, this is why collaboration matters, because when Sad told me she had this insight with Section 3 and all this, I said, let's merge that so we can get it out to the key people, because
Section
everyone
8.
can't handle it.
Section 8.
Section 3 too, right?
So Section 3 is a different program. Section 3 is a program that will help you get businesses, or if you have a business, get contracts with public housing.
Right. Yeah, there you go. That's why I knew it was tied to it. And that's coming up with Team 5, you guys, construction. So, so good, all good. Last thing, I drive up here from Georgia, and the route is Atlanta, Rome, Georgia, Cartersville, Rome, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Gary, Chicago. Black people are in all of those. It's like the Underground Railroad. You know what I mean? Like, it's black people all along the way. And here's what's shameful, you guys. There are public housing projects right across the stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's what black people have with their laundry hanging on the clothing lines. And our people just, in the summer when I drive up, they just sitting around. And it pains me because I'm on my way to the third largest city in America, and they just sitting there. Now, here's the beauty, because as you guys circulate the money with us, the $12, the loose change, instead of driving a vehicle, we're gonna have a bus, we're gonna have an RV. And guess what's gonna happen with them young people who've never been to Navy Pier, don't know what it is, never been to the Bean. That's some Chicago stuff. You ain't from here, you gonna know what the Bean is. Grant Park, Lincoln Park Zoo, the only free zoo in America, public zoo. Them children sitting there with the clothes on the clothesline will grow. Joe, they go grow knowing and experience. They go like, ooh wee, and just imagine our Gary kids, Chicago kids showing them. Now they feel good.
Well, what about the story of little Angel?
We got several children that have been working with us. Angel went to New York City with us, all the way from West Englewood, New York City, graduated from Chicago State recently, doing well. Kumbi from the west side of Chicago. His mama saw him with a certain color cloth, and she said, is my son in the gang? Can you start working with him? Start working with him. He's a truck driver, taking pictures all over the country in nice hotels. He started out going to the hotels with us in St. Louis, in Birmingham. Now he in the luxury, because we weren't gonna pay for luxury. we pay for days in all over the nation. So, but the point is, our young people have grown up. We got one of our young people is a police officer here in Chicago. Another one is a nurse. So the point is, during them teen years, that's when they testing sex out, they testing drugs out, they testing some things, because this is their chance to, they heard what mom and daddy taught them, but guess what? I want to see for myself. So they pulling away from mom and daddy as a youth. You need another structure out there that allows them to be away from mom and daddy, but be amongst their peers, which is, they ain't want to go with me, Joe, grown folks, but guess what? We had access to the other kids, and they wanted to be around them other kids. So they like, we'll listen to you, Sal, for these 18 hours we on the road, but I'm really here because I want to interact with each other. And Kumbi and Aisha birthday on the same day, and recently they was in Vegas together. They met each other because of the work of out-of-town trips. And here they are together on their birthday in Vegas. It did my heart well knowing that the out-of-town travel helped them. So that's it for the youth. We're switching over to the economics. Excuse me. Here's what I want to say about the economic development piece, you guys. We have $1 trillion as a people. Oh, Charles, I forgot you was over there, man. Charles, what you got to say about the young people traveling? Because your daughter is a key example, and she's a nurse.
Right.
So go ahead, Charles. I said your name, Charles, and you just fell off. Soon as Charles come in, we're going to hear from Governor Charles, because Barbara is one of our superstars who is a nurse now, and I met her at 7th grade. So that's a key example right there. All right, so while we're waiting on Charles, I want to get back to the economic development piece. So here's the key. It's two things, and I want to get Cy Lewis's perspective on what California law just passed. But let's first start with last month. So last month we talked about Black businesses taking and making sure that they're owning us financing this movement. For those who don't know this, what we do it in $5,000 increments, meaning 35 Black businesses doing 12 people's $12 finances us. That's how easy it is. 35 black businesses coming together can finance us for 3 months. Just imagine when Chicago 35 businesses do that, Gary 35 black businesses do that, St. Louis 35, Louisville, because all the places I just told you in the Underground Railroad, there's barbershops, tire shops, funeral homes. There's 35 black businesses there. Charles, what you got, man? We was talking about the teenagers traveling and now they're successful. What's your thoughts on that, Governor Charles? You on mute, Charles. You on mute. We can't hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, that's the goal. You know, that's always got to be the part of what we do, because so getting our youth exposed to traveling and different things, of course.
Now, you're talking about your daughter, though. Barbara was traveling, going out of town. Do you think that had any impact on her right now today?
I mean, we as the average that my daughter.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you know, I mean, just as we looked at it when she was younger, and say, wow, she ain't really, you know, when we asked her how did she feel about it, you know, from her being so young, she's like, oh, it was good and this, but it impacts her life more now that she's a grown woman. That she see that travel helps save her from not being exposed to different things. So she was around different people. She got a chance to be with different people. And as you said, she got a chance to unite with people that she probably wouldn't have united with if it wasn't for some structure like what National Block Club is, you know.
Now, Charles, your daughter met Dr. King's granddaughter. You remember her great-granddaughter,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
And she was just on the Lincoln Mall in D.C. speaking to millions of people. And this was the little bitty girl standing next to Barbara, man, in Atlanta. We took the Chicago teens to Atlanta, and they met her as a 5-year-old. And here she is as a teenager standing tall, talking to millions of people with her daddy. And we got it all on YouTube.
And that's what I mean. Had that had happened, she wouldn't had that chance hadn't she been in a structure like this. It wasn't like we just gonna take a trip there and automatically meet them and meet the girl, you know. So yeah, that's real stuff, though. You know, it's real.
Tell them I'm coming next. Yeah. So anything else you got for the youth? We go move into this economic development and the jobs. You know.
Well, I want to just say I appreciate Miss Cy Lewis and what she's doing.
Did you see her? You saw her on my introduction, St. Louis.
Yeah.
So you got to meet her in person and make sure she know that she's part of the fam. We gonna rock and roll with her.
Yeah. I mean, that type of stuff is. I mean, we know we always moving somewhere, but all these extraordinary people that we have networked with is beauty. Is the beauty of it, man.
Listen, she been here. How long you been here, Si?
In South Shore
Yeah.
since '67.
She been here. Nancy Smith, been like these superstars are here. They in neighborhoods. And when you meet them and then it just does this, it's all beautiful.
Wow, man. Powerful stuff, man. Powerful.
Yeah, and that's the same thing in Kansas City, in Miami. It's great people right now, unsung heroes, that when we meet them, this go happen.
That's it. Looking forward.
So we on economic development real quick, and then we got education. Then after that, Charles, if you want to get off, I just want to get you on the education piece. So California, state of California passed a law, and the governor is the last one. If he signs it, then it'll go into effect next year. Any company headquartered in the state of California must have Black people, minorities, on their boards.
Yes.
if you don't know, boards are the rulers of a corporation. Boards, they can vote a founder off the board. They can vote, you know what I mean? So boards matter. Just think about how monumental that is. So Google is headquartered in California. Yahoo is headquartered in California. Now you gotta have a Negro sitting there. You gotta have a Black person sitting there. Now, Cy Lewis, Joe, Charles, I think this is important that they know all Negroes not the same. What do y'all think? There's certain Black people you don't want on the board just because they Black. Man, you will have one like Supreme Court sitting in there. So we got to be careful when we help our white brethren select who's going to be sitting on the boards. Just because they Black don't mean they Black. And you want the Blacks who go connect with the grassroots people. Because there's Black people in Chicago who are part of the European model of doing everything the Europeans say is good. And we want people that's going to be honest with Europeans and say, nah, this is what's wrong. This isn't, nah, we can't just go along to get along. This is what we really need. Because at the end of the day, if we want to see these neighborhoods change, there's some exploitation that has to stop. And putting the wrong Black person in there, they'll be like, yeah, it's all right. No, it ain't all right. You live out in Olympia Fields. You mean it's all right? It's all right for you out there. We here. So it ain't all right here. Joe, Charles, Si, what's your thoughts on this California landmark law that could revolutionize some stuff? What do y'all think?
It's time.
It is. It's past time. But the thing to really keep your eye on is the fact that California leads the way in things like this. You know, they were Silicon Valley. They were our tech, you know, giants, you know, and everything kind of trickles down from state to state. So if they did it in California, remember, what was it, Proposition
702 or something like that?
You know, everything falls from
Marijuana,
California and all the way around.
Well, they so
the country.
big though.
Exactly.
They
And
go
so,
sit there.
but if they can get that many people in agreement, it's that much easier for us to get people in agreement here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a big problem when you don't have any person of color on the board. Excuse me, if you don't have a Black person.
Yeah,
on
it
the
matters.
Because it's a very big difference. This is why Gucci felt comfortable with putting a monkey, you know, on their brand in there, because
Who was sitting at the table?
who was sitting at the table?
But they could have had some Black people there, and there's
There
the
were
other
none.
type of Black people.
But there were none. In this case,
In
there
this
were
case,
none.
but I'm saying you would
Right.
have some that'll say, yeah, you know, they go along with them.
Right. So
Yeah, but you're right.
here's the
We-
question: Where are
certain
these
type of
Black people going to be coming from? You
There
know,
you
let's
go.
bring
There you go.
bring our
There
brothers
you
and
go.
sisters from Howard and from our other HBCUs. Let's bring our no, we don't want to bring our kids from the HBCUs. So
Because here's the problem with people that pledge, and I don't get mad at me for
no, I'm
this.
not saying fraternity.
Okay,
Everybody
okay,
who goes
okay,
to no,
okay.
I'm not
Wait.
not even there. I'm not in a
Okay,
sorority.
I think you should
I'm
say
not-
that though,
I'm not in a
because that matters.
sorority.
Okay, all right.
I'm not in sorority.
Okay,
I'm not big on fraternities or sororities
Mhm.
or Masons or Eastern Stars or those types of
and don't get
organized
mad at her for saying this, y'all.
And please don't get angry with me because I don't have a problem that you're into it. What I'm saying is I want something that is all inclusive.
There you go.
I want a Black power, all inclusive.
Perfect sense.
You should not be excluded because you went to a university and you weren't in a sorority or a fraternity. Everybody did not pledge. Be clear on that.
See, no argument there. She hit it out the park. But when you say HBCUs, nah, but you wasn't saying the fraternities,
No,
sorority, and all that
because
stuff. So
they
very
get the
good.
benefit of some great education down, excuse
Mhm.
me, in the South. And so I think that it's very, very important that people understand that when you go to an HBCU, your goal is not to go and join a fraternity or a sorority or become a part of a clique or a group. Your goal is to go and get the best
Knowledge.
education
Yeah.
possible and to be able to take that education and your Black heritage and bring it back.
Not leave, return and restore.
Exactly.
Because, you know, growing up, I grew up in the crack epidemic and it was make it out the hood. And I wish I was mature enough back then. Like, if everybody make it out, what we gonna be left with? And that's what happened. Black bourgeois made it and got the hell out of Dodge. No one came back to fight the change where we was at. Everyone made it and started chasing white people to the suburbs. And it's like, what about us? You know, so you don't just make it and leave, make it and give back. Charles, what you got to say about this California law?
Well, I've never been to California, first of all, and it's interesting.
It's a whole nother world.
And I know you probably say that big things have came out of California and they trickle on down to other states. That's interesting. And my
Except Texas.
hope is, you know, I mean, that's a I think I froze up or you froze up, but yeah. But anyway, I like to say that that's a landmark thing to have that type of thing where somebody sits on their boards and to add equality to getting us new business and getting us started with businesses and stuff like that. But I just hope the right people get in. You know,
But we gotta lead. Like, we can't just sit back and hope. We gotta lead, meaning they gotta get letters from us. They gotta know. My personal opinion is what they should want is the people most connected to the grassroots community. So it shouldn't be the politicians a part of it, because no politician is gonna appoint their opponent. Cy Lewis ran against the incumbent here. You think if Google said to, what's his name over here?
We're not gonna mention that.
This local politician over here, if he said, select a person to be on the board of Google, he's not gonna say, yeah, get Cy Lewis because I know she's smart and she can challenge me for my job. No. So Cy Lewis can forget about it if it's left in the hands of the ruling elite, which is why I'm saying to these companies, no way do you let the Democratic Party, any politicians select these people. That will be feeding into the gap and more than same. Any opposition with anything else to that?
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Or the religious leaders.
Right. I don't, you know,
select them either, because that's the clique stuff, you guys.
That's the problem.
right. As you say, I don't want this to turn into another movement like affirmative action, where it's the selective and who you select. Who you know who this certain person select, and forgive me, but that's why I hate all types of board type stuff, especially when it's dealing with political moves of selectation. Yeah.
All right, so we're on the same page with that, and we already Dory Miller's side. Dory Miller is in Gary, Indiana. All the people in Dory Miller public housing have to be gone by this year. They have 82 days before they have to leave. So they got to move in the winter.
Okay, so they have to move and they're in public housing. What is Gary doing and what is HUD doing to make sure that they're placed?
Kendra, if you're out there, Kendra, you heard the question. Kendra is the head person of the local housing, local council. And she said everyone have their vouchers and everyone is nervous. Some people been there 50 years and they don't want to leave, but they're going to have to leave. So Kendra is on the ground. She's a good person helping us to get people ready to go.
So then my question is that voucher turning into a housing choice voucher? Does that voucher then allow them to go into any rental unit? Because if it allows them to go into any rental unit, then they can't be discriminated against because they came from a public housing unit. The voucher is for whatever the amount is. So if it's 1 bedroom and it's $1,100, then that means they have a rent voucher for $1,100 and they can search for an apartment anywhere in Gary for $1,100. Okay, so if there's a,
So
is
you
it
talking
less or
Chicago
more?
amount? Yeah, it's
Less.
less. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
yes,
so then
right, yeah.
they can
Right, for
search for an
equal-
apartment
right.
of equal value. So they are not limited to going to another housing
Yeah.
unit. Now, here's something that I want to know from Kendra it is, right?
Yep.
If the person is disabled or elderly and they need to be in a building that has an elevator or accommodations, are they raising the amount of the voucher because they are supposed to? So that means that that particular person has the option to have an increased voucher amount because perhaps they have to be in an elevator building. Okay, so that's one thing. And then the other question is, are there any senior buildings that have available units in them, and can the housing authority there then designate those units as places that the seniors can move in, or those people who are 55 and older, because a lot of the buildings are 55 and older.
Yeah. Actually, Gary has quite a bit. The tallest buildings in Gary are 4 senior buildings.
So those are some questions that I would like her to consider, and to consider asking the answers to those questions. Also, if you are a person with a disability, you get an advocate to help you look for housing. Is that person doing that? And if they are not,
That's what I asked
they
you,
need
Kendra.
to be looking into it, calling that person and saying, I need assistance with helping me to find me a home.
Can she call you?
Yeah.
Can anyone call you?
Yeah.
We're talking to St. Louis here. Because Kendra, this is who you need to talk to. You can see
Give me
former
my
candidate, she is on top of her game when it comes to this type of stuff. And Section 8 is national. So for whatever, if you're in Memphis, you're in Detroit, they might tweak it a little bit, but then at the core of it all is still the same premise of what St. Louis is pushing. All right, we gotta speed up. We have, and I'm gonna butcher this because this is Chinese or Japanese, Asian. Kendra, here's the number 773. Anyone can write this down. St. Louis is available. 773-540-8659. 773-540-8659. We're gonna switch gears and talk about Black women and their hair. Black women and their hair. For those who don't know, global relations, North Korea and South Korea are at odds with each other. The US loves South Korea, not North Korea. The US back in the 60s made an agreement to give South Korea access to the hair industry at less tariffs and other restrictions. So what the US government did, i.e. primarily white people in power, they said, we're gonna help South Korea control the hair industry in America. We're gonna make sure we import so much. So just know that imports of hair is political and is coming with the government's backing. Here are a few groups you might want to write down and look up, because these people are making certain that they dominate the hair market of Black women. KCA Global, I&I Hair, Optimum Solution Group, Immediate Hair, Spectra Braids, OS Hair. All of these companies are dealing with China. The US don't like this, but they have sweatshops in China. They show on the May 1st, you Google May 1st, HETIAN. They show that some of the people there were losing their hair, and their hair was being shipped over here. Sai, is that true? Do they use human hair in Asia to sail over here in the US? I found this very, very disturbing, but this is the report. And it's in one county, LOP County, that they have a sweatshop where they're cutting women's hair and shipping this hair over here. And they say it's in overdrive. It's so much hair being shipped to the US, and guess who's buying it? Sai, what's your thoughts?
So I would think that, first of all, that Where the hair is coming from is always suspect. And if it's human hair, it's suspect. So there is a documentary about hair and how it comes from foreign countries. Some hair is pulled out of drains, some hair is swept up off of floors, some hair is cut off of the heads of dead people. And it is then washed, soaked, dyed, and added in with dog hair and everything else, and strained and put on a weft and sold as human hair. So women are into their hair. A lot of it is filled with plastic. When you're wondering why your head is itching, your hair is falling out, you're losing your edges, you think it's too tight. It's not so much of that, it's because of all the other things. So you're not even getting human hair. Because they say it's human hair does not mean that it's human hair.
You think?
Because they say that it's Remy does not mean that it is Remy.
And what's a Remy? That sounds like liquor.
Expensive hair.
So Remy hair is
Give me the address real quick. 24 what?
2734
Okay, all right, you keep going.
East 79. So
Remy hair?
Remy hair is supposed to be some of the best sourced hair.
Says who?
Sourced, and notice that I say sourced. You may very well be wearing horse hair that is dyed, that is permed to make it soft. It's very important that we start considering the things that are going into, and really that's going into our head, onto our head, onto our bodies. You cannot just trust it. You can't think because $300 doesn't make it real hair.
But I guess here they're saying women over there are losing their hair. Like they got camps where they cutting their hair off and they let them breathe and then they cut it off again.
Mhm.
And it's all for us. Like what other ethnic group is buying hair like
White
this?
people
Is
have
it?
been buying hair. White women have been buying hair.
Oh, educate me.
So white women have been buying hair long before Black women got into hair. So if you'll remember, in the heyday of the 20s movies and the wigs that they wore then, these wigs, this was the beginning of fake hair.
Wigs,
Yes.
but wigs wasn't hair. They didn't.
Wigs is hair. Wigs is human hair. Most wigs were human hair.
You knew that, Joe?
Most wigs were not synthetic hair back in the day. Most wigs were human hair.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's why you always talk to people.
So
So all them wigs was human hair. The wigs you just sit on top of your head.
yes. So now let's go back even further. Let's go back to George Washington. Remember the curly hair,
Mhm.
that the robes, those were human hair wigs.
Wow.
There was no such thing as
I hope you
synthetic
guys
hair
heard
back
this.
then.
This is deep. This is
There
deep.
was no such thing as synthetic hair back then. These were human hair wigs that they wore.
Somebody's hair.
Those courts, yes.
I think it went too deep. You
So
guys.
it went really
Side
deep
rant.
because they it's always been cutting the hair off of poor people and giving them a pittance for their hair. This is what they do over in foreign countries, over in Vietnam. They will cut a woman's hair, and for 12 inches of her hair, she may get $6.
All right. Because here's the deal. Here's the deal. Because you don't want to get depressed. You don't want to get overwhelmed. Here's the reality. Charles, you still there with us? So here's to me what we need to do, because as you heard Cy go all the way back to George Washington. The bottom line is this: as much as we as Black people can internalize our spending, supporting each other, I think it's gonna take all of these outsiders who are who's exploiting us and been exploiting us. It's gonna limit their power to do that. Now, people say, well, what's gonna make Black people pull their money together now? What's gonna make us stop giving money to these outsiders now? One way is when the children are winning financial awards, because the way through a parent is through their children. You put money in their children's pocket, guess what you're doing to them parents? You buying loyalty. So we go buy loyalty. And just imagine how fun Black America is going to be when not only do your child win the $500 spelling bee competition, but it's a free trip for you and 3 family members to Atlanta to receive it.
That's amazing.
Just imagine, hey, my son won this. Imagine the Zooms when these neighborhoods are competing. They want to make it to the finals in Miami, California, when we got the real money coming. The point is, we got to make Black America exciting through these awards, financial awards. And then we saying to the parents, hey, you won this money, but you can't be buying Asian hell over here, because now we just taking our money and giving it to them. You know what I mean? So we don't want to tell you what to do, but we got to tell you a little bit what to do with love. Because the bottom line, if we're giving our money to these people who don't care about us, that don't make sense to keep doing that. It's like turn the heat on, but leaving the door open. You trying to be warm or what? You know, what are you doing here? If Black dollars keep going to all these other ethnic groups, how do we move forward? How do we progress? Any closing remarks? And we're going to move to construction. Yeah, moving along here.
Well, I just want to say, case in point, we got stimulus money.
They had stimulus.
Right. There was stimulus money put out. What was stimulated? Did anybody take money and invest it in themselves, in their lives? So I saw a lot in my community, and it was heartbreaking. So I'm going to say this very quickly. So the very same people who got $1,200, $1,200, $555 for their kids are still now dragging past me, pushing a grocery shopping cart that was taken out of a grocery store, headed to the laundromat. So if you had taken a portion of that and invested in a washing machine for your home, over the year, how much more money would you have saved not having to go to the laundromat?
Or some of them got PPP money. They
That
had
too.
10 grand. They was doing it big. So,
That too. So the PUA money, and so I'm just saying, invest in yourself. No one will invest in you the way you will invest in yourself.
we have to create an environment for that side, and that's where leaders come together. When you go in the library, the environment tells you the librarian don't have to come over and do this. The atmosphere tells you to lower it down. In our atmosphere, it say anything goes, man. You can do whatever you want, when you want. And as we get leaders out here on the block, we're gonna change the atmosphere, and that's gonna alter behavior. You're gonna tone it down. It's certain neighborhoods, if you're on the west side, you know when you cross Austin, don't throw that bag out. Wait till I get across Chicago, then I throw it out. That's what atmosphere do. Atmosphere, it tell you how to behave. You know what to do, what not to do. All right, we're moving on to construction real quick. Monday, I'm gonna have Eddie Reed on the Zoom, you guys. Eddie Reed is a legend here in Chicago when it comes to protesting and shutting down construction sites until Black people are working. So I'm interested to hear what he had to say about the state of Black affairs. One of the reasons why I said anti-violence money is a distraction, because 70% of all budgets is manpower. You paying for people. So when we say anti-violence, what are we paying people to go out there and do what? Tell people to stop killing each other. So we preaching to the choir, 70% of that money. So it's not like you buying the gun spotter, you know, that's a form of anti-violence. You shoot, they respond. It's not like you buying a software that tracks people. You buying people to go out and say, be nice. Pat Quinn in 2010 politically threw $55 million at Black people because the violence was high, and they had our kids out handing out shirts and saying, be nice to each other. We can't retire off anti-violence grants. We can't go get a loan so you can buy a home off of that, because it's seasonal, it's temporary. And so political leaders use Black people, and they give us this money. We fight for the money, they give us this money, and all it's doing is preaching to the choir. What they really could do, if it wasn't a distraction, they can put money into construction training. They can put money into making sure that the outsiders from the suburbs don't come in the city and do construction work. Them same Black men you giving $10 an hour to go say stop the violence, you could be given a job making $80,000 a year. Exactly. That's what I want to talk to Eddie Reed about, because anti-violence money is a distraction. The real issue is how do we stop outsiders from exploiting poor black neighborhoods?
But,
Uh-oh, Joe got something. What you got, Joe?
what about locking us out, like people like Walsh and those kind of people?
That's my point.
Yeah.
So why I got $6 million anti-violence, I did nothing about Walsh getting all the construction money, who's gonna hire their own people. So they shut us up because they gave us, they care about us, they gave us anti-violence money. No, no, they distracted you. You over here happy you got $10 an hour to go and walk the neighborhood, you can't retire off
And the
of.
white boys making
They make-
$27 an hour,
And doing construction
Flagging.
in your neighborhood.
flagging.
So we want to hear what Eddie Reed got to say about that because he's been on the front line for a while. And real quick, the reason we want the 15-year-olds in this pipeline to home ownership, because even if they get a small $500 house, $5,000 house, it's going to need repairs. Imagine thousands of our young people getting homes that need repair. Guess what that do for our construction? It gives them jobs. It gives them something to do, rehabbing the houses for our young people. Even if they go away to college, at least their family's not paying rent. You heard Sai talk about the wasted money for rent. So at least you build an equity, and we putting black men to work, black women to work doing roofing, HVAC, carpentry, welding, concrete. So I think that's the key. We want to hear from Eddie Reed, but we want to make certain that we get the young people into ownership because their credit isn't as messed up as some of the older people. Unless their parents put their name on something early. What you got to say?
There are free programs now for the contracting trades. For those who feel like it's going to be difficult, there are online training courses now, which we will provide a link for you to, that you can do through Coursera, that will prepare you for these particular courses. There are some extremely high-paying jobs that are available. There's training for these jobs. It's about a matter of passion and what you're going to put into it. You know that this is going to be a winter, a fall and a winter of you having to stay in and a bit more closed up. Take this time to do self-development. Reach out to us. We will provide the information for you. If you are, whether you're in Chicago or not, if it is a Coursera class, that means you can take that class internationally. You can
It's
be
online,
anywhere.
right?
It's online.
Okay.
You can be anywhere to take these particular classes so that we can make sure that you can take care of yourself, not just for a few weeks, not just for a few months, but for a lifetime.
And one of the things we didn't talk about under the safety, the prison industry, there's a new company, it's not a new company, they renamed themselves CCA. Remember CCA? CCA was the private prison mecca. They were one of the biggest, them in Wackenhut, you know. So anyway, they have a new name, you guys. You know what their new name is, Si?
What?
Core Civic. C-O-R-E, Civic. That's the new name since 2016. You know why they changed the name to Core Civic?
Let's see. Why did they change the name to Core, their new name? Why did they decide on Core Civic?
Because their new branding is to do more re-entry. They peeped game that the marijuana laws was changing, that the world was moving away from incarceration. So to be ahead of the sticks, now they want to focus on incarcerating and helping the re-entry people. So now they want to help.
The same people who locked us up want to help us?
This is the same thing we deal with white community people who locked up black people for marijuana, and now they making money off marijuana. Like, think about this, you guys. Not all my white people. We got some tremendous white people. I always have to say that because people like to take a tidbit and use it for the whole thing. But you know firsthand that black people went to jail for marijuana and broke up families at an astronomical rate and level. And now you got people out there making money off hemp and marijuana. This is the same thing. These people passed laws where they had to keep the prisons full, 80%, 90% capacity with states. And now they're coming back and saying, we're new. we're gonna help reentry after we locked you up. So Core Civic, we're gonna make sure Black people know Core Civic new name, you guys, because we want to hit a real solution.
And
If
they're
they got to
headquartered
get
in
Blacks on the board, let's go.
They're headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee, Pulaski, Tennessee is the headquarters of the founding of the KKK, the first one. So Tennessee got a history from a KKK perspective. So Core Civic, do your homework, you guys. They're under Team 3 for us, safety. We're gonna make sure we expose that. Now, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo banks, and 6 other major banks are the 90% of their funding, 87.4% to be exact. JP Morgan, Wells. Now, JP Morgan just committed a lot of money because they want to make right race relations. So they got to be called on the carpet. So we got to talk to our Team 8 legal people and say, what can we do to say, JP, you can't on one hand say, I'm with social justice, we go do right by Black people, but then send 87.4% money to Core Civic so they can help these people that they locked up. Don't go together, but we got to put it out there. And that's why we got teams 1 through 8.
Wow.
Any other comments on that before we move off of construction?
No.
Oh, big name designers. Why is this here? These are some of the big name people when it comes to construction, but I'm gonna hold that because I want to hear Eddie Reed. We'll put that on next month's summit, you guys. Real quick, as we move on, the COVID numbers here for this last 30 days, 60639 is 671 new cases. The COVID is strong in the Hispanic community. Watch this, 671 in North Austin, that's up there with the Hispanic area. In Marquette Park, 915 new cases in 30 days. That's the Hispanic area. Then also North Lawndale, South Lawndale is Hispanic, 489 new cases. All the other places in the hundreds, except Calumet Heights, 423 cases. What's over in Calumet Heights?
Black folks.
But also, yeah. So, but that they got a reason. They be in the house together a lot. So, you know, it's really by zip code, not by neighborhoods. But 60617 got 423 cases of in the last 30 days. So I just want to put that. So, all right. So now we're moving on to education. Charles, you still there? School teacher.
So she's 95th and King Drive.
Yeah, I'm right here, Si.
You're a school teacher, man. How is how is this education remote going for CPS?
Well, it could be better. We always say that it could be better. But I mean, it's the beginning of it. We started in September. I say on my end, I teach cluster special. I'm one of the cluster worker teachers with special education, and you know, I mean.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being excellent, how is remote learning going?
Woo! I say at least about 7. I'll give it a 7.
That's good.
Because with just like I said, I can't rope us in with every other part of education with traditional, because special needs, as everybody knows, is a different type of teaching. So therefore, our kids are more impersonal. They get more impersonal from us as teachers, but we have bent our curriculum to the point where it does serve greatly the great need of special needs. So in personal, they, like I say, they get more, but we have worked hard and tirelessly to make it comfortable for everybody, including ourselves.
Now, every child got a computer?
Yes.
So somebody got rich off of that, huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Every child got Wi-Fi or internet?
Yep.
So somebody got rich off of that.
And look,
in Chicago, there was a big company that got $2 million that went
so you know how I look at it with Chicago. Everything is political, hands washing hands type of thing. The thing is, when these contracts are spread it out with these companies that provide the equipment and stuff, I don't think none of these faces in there black.
And that's the thing. Education is a big profit for certain people who know how to work the system, and they know how to create legacy for their families just by feeding. Same with when you think about the jails. Remember phone calling cards? People got rich off of phone calling cards, deodorant, and so again, that's why being organized makes a difference, because we can start pushing back on some of this exploitation that's happening to us,
Yeah.
So on the education front, though, Charles, I really want to emphasize the linkages that we have so that these children can start competing and winning money. So like all barbers helping 8th graders out, all beauticians helping 4th graders out, that type of stuff. What do you think about that? You think it'll make a difference, or it's a waste of money?
No, that's investing into ourselves. That's investing into ourselves and our youth. I mean, me and you done talked about this for a minute. And what greater way is it to link everybody together by way of the kids, the very people that we trying to groom here? I mean, I could see the barbers getting with the 8th graders, which they are the adults, the adults and the youth working together. And then we got the retired barbers working alongside. And then you got the parents who at the same time are getting their kids groomed with stuff as teaching them to work together with people to enhance their life. That's community working together then. Through zip codes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Now we got like 9 boys walking by right now here, and immediately what we want to know from all 9 of these young guys: who loves working with wood, who loves singing, who loves dancing, who loves art. Who's good at taking pictures, so we can get them with the retirees you just spoke about for each of them fields. As Cy Lewis said it. They want someone local so that way they can touch them. And it's not just this fairy tale person far away,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. So the last thing I had on the education front was next month in November, because what normally happens is November and December, organizing kind of grinds to a halt because families getting together for Thanksgiving and of course the holidays. God forbid you try to do something with Black Friday, man, you can forget about them coming to a meeting. You can forget about that, so typically these are dry months, November, December for us. So I think if the children are winning this money in November, December more so, guess what? They're going to use more of that money for that unfortunate Black Friday shopping and holiday stuff. But I think we should increase, really get these barbers and these Black businesses committed to putting the money up so November, December can be robust financially so that the young people can be excited. Families are at home, and it can help us win them over a little bit better, I think. So,
gotta plant the seeds.
Well, we gonna keep working with these Black business owners. That's where it comes from. So the last 2 topics is legal and policy. So on the policy side, the census ended early. President Trump ended it. Should have went to the 31st, but it ended. So the bottom line is, hopefully you guys got counted, and if not, shame on you for not getting counted, because the bottom line is they're counting people and the money is going to follow that. And the sad thing is, unfortunately, a lot of our Black people got counted in rural white towns for the census, and that money is going to follow those small towns. Shame on us for letting that be a policy that we didn't push back against. To me, they shouldn't be counted there because they're not costing them no money. Matter of fact, they're building their economy. So why they getting counted there is beyond me. Any thoughts on that? Okay, Trump's platinum plan and Biden's no plan for Black people. to me, it's important to say black. And so I appreciate hearing a platinum plan for blacks. That just made me smile. I want to hear the Democrats playing for blacks, not playing for minorities, because we know how that goes. I want to hear what's the plan for blacks. What was you saying? Okay, I'm about to give you guys something that's finna knock your socks off. I love it. DOG, which is dog, or DFS, DFS. So the question is, do Trump or Biden want us to be their dog or they DFS? Do Trump or Biden want us to be their dog or the DFS? Let's break down what is dog. Dog is depend on government. You got that, Charles? Depend on government. Dog, depend on government. Do these candidates want blacks to depend on government? Meaning, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna give you this. I'm depend on me. Or do they want you to do for self? Meaning, I don't want you to say, I'm gonna give you this much money. I want you to give me more of my money. I want you to stop taxing the max out of me. I want you to stop, give me a speeding ticket for $200, taking my boot my car and taking money, making me pay. No, leave me alone and let me use my money to do for self. Do Trump or Biden want us to do for self, Charles, or they want us to dog? They want us to depend on government.
Well, it's an entity that's been taking money forever. So, I mean, it's revenue. So that'd be foolish for them to say, I want to see the little man grow and get ahead and not become the peasant, but become the king, you know? So,
we at the end here, man. We want Cy and Joe to say something before we close out, and I'm just gonna give you guys the date of the next one. We'll start ladies first. Cy, are we gonna be the dog or the DFS for the Democrats or the Republicans?
Well, I choose to be neither. I clearly, I think that what we do have to have is someone that we can negotiate with. And once we get someone in office that we can negotiate with, then we have to start negotiating from a position of power and stop negotiating from a position of weakness. If we can mobilize and destroy cities, if we can mobilize and we can protest for weeks at a time, then we can mobilize and stand at the door of any elected official and say, this is what we will not tolerate. And we can stand there for 2 weeks. We can stand there until the policy is changed. We can shut it down until the policy is changed. And we can let them know that you will never be elected again. And we will go against everything that you do until you do this thing.
Accountability. And that's spoken from someone who knows government. Joe, what's the closing remark, man?
Personally, I am so glad that we have something to combat what we've been up against. Finally, we're up against a major system that's locking our children up. That's far as housing, the highest rate. I'm, like I said again, I'm just thankful for the concept, the village concept, because at the end of the day, you know, when you think it's hopeless, we do have something to fall back on. And all we need is each other to collectively change whatever it is that we're up against.
And the best part, like I just shared earlier, this is my first time working with Cy Lewis in her space here. And the key, you guys, is there are Cy Lewis's and awesome, amazing, unsung heroes everywhere. The more we get together like this is important because everyone brings something different to the table, a set of experiences. And when we merge together, that's what the power elite don't want to see. So November 28th is the next summit. I would know that's around the holidays. We hear that every year, but guess what? Now this year with Zoom, hey, you and your family could be sitting around the Thanksgiving table watching us talk about social change and economic change and political change.
And we should make our children do that. Remember when we were kids and everybody had to sit down in front of the TV on the floor while mom and dad sat on the sofa and decided what you watched and what you heard?
That's it. That's it. And keep in mind, if nothing else, look up Core Civic, you guys, so you get some information that's important. Stay strong. November 28th, that's the fourth Saturday in November. Peace.